I don't know. How did you start something like that?
It In some ways, I had been building up to it. I have this series called I'm Going to Be Famous
Mm-hmm.
that I touched upon some romance of my real life romance in. And I have a film called Island, which is, without giving away too much, it is the world's most abstract breakup movie. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure even some people don't come away realizing that, but that's what it was to me. And there was these elements of reality where you I love stuff like do you know like Kiarostami, like Iranian like meta cinema, like
No,
so
I don't think I do.
so there's a lot there's this whole wave of this would be a whole separate tangent, but essentially
Yeah.
there's a lot of filmmakers from Iran who create these very meta films that are toying with the idea of what's real and what's not. And a lot of it stems from the Iranian government's strict control over what art can be. And so in this sphere where you have all these rules, they have to get creative to like get away with doing stuff. And these like meta films kind of branch off from that. And I've always found it a immense relatability there because I feel we are also inundated with rules. It's not dictated by a tyrannical government that is controlling our art, but
Yeah.
I think rules we put on ourselves and rules that if you're trying to make it in the industry, things you're supposed to do, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always felt such a strong connection to that because I'm like, how do you create a film different than how people want you to do it or tell you to do it? And I think that's the heart of what the Iranian meta cinema is. And so I got really attached to this idea of maybe things can feel real or maybe things can actually be real, but it could still play as a narrative. And like, I think the impetus of Pretend That You Love Me came from this belief I had built up over the years that my struggles are inherently compelling, and I think that's the strongest thing my art has given me. It's you don't need to exaggerate, you don't need to purely escape from reality. You can present your struggles, whether it is in a more abstracted way or in a very direct way, and people will relate because everyone goes through stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone goes through the specifics hardly matter. Everyone goes through heartache and loss and loneliness and all this stuff. And the belief that just presenting myself as is was not only very therapeutic, but I think it's very freeing for people who watch it because they can be like, oh, my problems could matter too, and my problems could make for compelling art, and they could make for, they could inspire other people to be more open and express themselves. And so the more logistical answer is the start of the film was I don't want to spoil too much because the film is always playing with the idea
Mm-hmm.
of is it real or is it not, even throughout.
Mm-hmm.
But there, I got the women who are in the film involved in this idea that like let's record ourselves going on dates, at dates, but you have to see the film because there
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
answers there. But and we essentially just took it scene by scene. I had no grander plan, and the real world does come into and out of the film many times in ways I couldn't have premeditated.
Yeah.
And I grew very disinterested in scripts a couple years ago, and I haven't scripted anything since because I like the looseness. And the looseness lends itself brilliantly to a no budget movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you script something, you're waiting on this to fall through, a location or the actors you need, or if it's a bigger scene, maybe you need a crew. And when you don't script something, you could just film that day no matter what. You know, what's happening that day, it can be part of the movie. You know, and that was how I approached my movie Island and Pretend That You Love Me. And Island is, at least for most of it, it's a little more abstract. And even then I was operating from this space of like, I want to create emotionally. I want to try to express what I'm feeling that day through the medium of film.